in hopes of getting a glass casket, right? So we can go white-blue here. We'll have enough room for like growth spiral. And just hopefully we get the casket. Casket! Woo! Okay, somebody clip it. You guys love me, clip it. It's your boy WaifuGate coming back at you with another deck guide. Today we're going to be doing Bant. I know, Bant again? No, it's a little bit of a different variant. We've been trying different spins, and the primary objective is to be very proactive with our lists, not reactive. So that means we're playing out win cons and only playing answers when we absolutely need them. Primarily here at Shatter the Sky and Elspeth's for answers. But you have to consider that Elspeth's is also sort of a win con. It's also sort of proactive because we're also getting something back later on, which is quite nice. So you'll see here that most of this is pretty standard Bant stuff. We've got some omens, some early game plays, some spirals. Uro can probably be moved up to 4 if you want to trim another omen or trim something else in the list a little bit. Right now I kind of like these numbers. Been mixing and matching them though. So you'll see something that's a little off, which is like the swamp. And then down here we have some black for our mana base here. Why is that? Like, what's going on? And the answer is that we're using the black mana for sideboard techs such as Thought Distortion and Extinction Event. Thought Distortion solves matchups like U-White Control, Bant to some extent, as long as they don't sideboard in a lot of stuff like, you know, Nightpack Ambushers, a lot of creatures, because typically, like, they'll Crassus for 2, you can slam Thought Distortion after you've ramped, and the idea behind this is because usually, like, Thought Distortion's like an Esper thing, or, you know, a deck that doesn't typically ramp. And as I was playing Sultai and realizing the only reason I wanted to play Sultai was to ramp into Thought Distortion, this idea kind of struck a chord with me, and I wanted to test it. And so far it's been fun. I still need to experiment with it a lot. It's in its very early stages, but I think it has a lot of wiggle room and a lot of versatility. We could trim the Eugene as well to make room for something like a 4th Uro, just for more early game plays. There's a lot of min-maxing that can be done, for sure. So yeah, as you can see here, it might be a little difficult to cast Thought Distortion on curve. So to check that, we go here, export, and this is a site called MTGA on Curve Calculator. So it will tell us the likelihood of us casting something. So for this to be accurate, we need to remove the Thought Distortion from the sideboard, add it to the main deck, and then take away 2 other cards that are non-lands. So like we can just take away Eugene, for example, okay? Thought Distortion is at an 83% chance to cast, which is not the greatest, but most of the time we'll be ramping, and sometimes we can specifically target cards like with Fabled Passage, etc. And this isn't as bad as it looks. It's still kind of bad, but it's not terrible. As you can see, our mana base is a little rough on Shatter the Sky, which is a little weird. But we can min-max the mana for that as well. Just use this, kind of mess around with the mana, and eventually we can, you know, come to something that's pretty pretty runnable, I would say. So I think that you could also like take away 1 or 2 of these and add this back in to make the shatters a little bit better. It just depends on how we want to min-max it. Like the moment we do that, the numbers will change. Just squeak around with it a little and figure it out. It's not too hard. Until you're happy with it. It might just be fine in its base form. Anyway, what does the deck do? Just like regular Bant ramp, we just go hard in the paint, and then sideboard wise, we have access to you know, some black cards for sideboard. Extinction Event is primarily for Paw Blade, which was an impossible matchup for us because we couldn't Shatter the Sky, we didn't have enough single target removal, etc. So I added in some glass caskets and some extinction events for that. Sometimes they bring in like stuff like disenchant, so don't always assume that the creature that you remove with casket will be gone forever. That goes for like anything that can bounce it with Teferi, etc. But especially with Paw Blade, where they can get back their indestructible creature, it's very devastating. So just something to keep in mind. I would say our other matchups are relatively close. We can go here to check it out. So Bant ramp, I mean, it's an even matchup, and we got Thought Distortion in the sideboard. I think we're kind of slightly favored here depending on how hard they ramp. Now the difference between our list and a Sultai and a traditional Bant ramp is that we don't have Grazer because we're sacrificing vision over ramp, which is to say that we're running Omen of the Sea instead of Grazer, so we can, like, you know, fix our lands so we can cast Distortion game 2. We can fix our lands so we actually have extra lands for Uro and Spiral, or we can just find ramp, which is also pretty good, on top of being able to scry and take care of the land flood or land screw later on in the game. That's sort of what we're trying to cover. So I'd say that's our only downside against those ramp lists. Our upsides are we can Thought Distortion, and we can include the Narset's Reversal. I tested it in Sultai ramp, and it was very fun against Thought Distortion and against casualties, but it's not always consistent. But if you like fun, try it out. Narset's Reversal. It's awesome. It's like the only thing in the game that stops Thought Distortion. Tamir Wreck, I would say, is a bit of a rough matchup game 1, but we've got some decent sideboard cards against it. The thing that hurts us here is if they sideboard in 3 Night Pack Ambushers, and we take out a lot of answers for creatures. It's very devastating, but we do have a lot of late game cards that can kind of come into play. And Teferi 3 is still really good against this list, despite Shark Typhoons and stuff from them. We have our own to defend our Teferis as well, and then we can bounce their token, hopefully just get there. Sakdos can kind of take away game 1 sometimes. We have lots of good tools against it, primarily in the sideboard. I think we're packing like Wilts and stuff, right? No, we have Heliod's. Yeah, it's Heliod's in this list because we have white, right? It's not Sultai. So we've got 2 Heliod's. So both of these matchups are pretty good after sideboarding, since we have a decent amount of life gain and such. It's not too terrible. They're just really tricky. They can squeeze out a lot of damage between Witch's Oven and Priest of the Forgotten and everything. Like, it's very dangerous, but we just got to play our best, and that matchup's not too bad. We have really good tech with Soul Guide as well. Sultai ramp, it's going to come down who ramps into Distortion first. That's pretty much it, because they're going to bring it in against us as well. That's pretty much it. Against them, we have vetoes as well for casualties. It just doesn't help us if they go to Thought Distortion us. So, you know, we can kind of counter here and there, but if they're going to wait a turn to drop Nissa because they have Thought Distortion in hand, it's just a really tough matchup. If you keep struggling against getting slammed with Thought Distortion first, you always consider adding 1 or 2 Narset's Reversals just to meme around and try to have some fun with that matchup. Otherwise, I'd say it's pretty even. Casualties hurts us a lot, but it's not that devastating. Like, we can recover pretty easily with a Nissid Crassus or something, you know, after they blow one of these. It just hurts if you get hit by this super early and it sets you back on lands. You just got to watch out for that and maybe hold back a veto if you can. Mono green. We have pretty good board wipes against this, like Shatter the Sky. We've got Heliod's for Stone Coil, potentially, if you really want to sideboard that. I think it's easier sideboarding in the Wilt when you're on Sultai, but it just depends on how you want to field it. Other than that, like Stone Coil, we can still answer with like Glass Casket because it's a single target, or single color rather, answer. So like, and it's really good against all their creatures. So like our sideboard's quite good against this, and we can even bring in the Extinction event for extra board wipes. So 2 extinction events, boop boop. It's pretty straightforward there. Same thing with all of the mono red lists, or just mono red aggro, mono black aggro, Gruul. We want they have Embercleave here, so we want to bring in I would say anything that has Embercleave, like Heliod's is pretty safe because you can either gain life and get out of burn range if they just don't have the Embercleave, or if they do have the Embercleave, you can hit that. In mono red, you can hit a Nex and the Embercleave if you wait on it for a second, if you have 4 mana total, 2 white, and you can just boop boop and then board wipe next turn after they don't have the Annex. Same thing for Gruul. Sometimes they have Great Henge and you can double up on Embercleave with Heliod's. It's just nice. Azorius, pretty easy, just board in the Thought Distortion, auto win almost. Like, it's so much of an auto win almost, like, unless they're super developed, which they can't really be because they don't ramp. Like, you white control, we basically farm this list. That's our best matchup probably, followed by maybe Bant ramp. I would say like we're pretty heavily teched in the mirror for that. And then we've got like Rakdos Knight, same thing as mono red. Just bring in Heliod's and Glass Caskets, have some fun. And this isn't really a list. It can be, but like, yeah, it's whatever. I don't really want to go into detail on it. It's 1% of the meta. So that's pretty much the matchups. Other than that, the deck plays pretty well. I'll let you guys see the gameplay so you can make that decision yourself as well. And I'll see you guys in just a minute. There's also a code giveaway somewhere in this video, so be watching out for that. All right, and I'll see you guys in just a moment. Jump onto rank to see if it's worth running over just regular Bant. No companion. We've got a pretty okay land base. Like, we can cast Spiral on 2 and we can cast Omen on 2 as well. Oh boy. Probably the Spellslinger list, potentially, if it's red, yeah. So, the perfect pet, okay. So we don't have a great hand against this. I almost want to play this and not Omen. Yeah, that's a pretty good summary fate, I think. Like, just considering the possibilities instead of instantly chalking it up to RNG is definitely the way to go, I think. So we're going to go ahead and play this. Bounce the pet. That way they just have to play it again and swing. I think the problem is that they can still play that and hold up a Lofty Denial. And now we don't have the Teferi because they'll kill it. Lofty is 2 mana, so they have to have, yeah, so they probably have it. We don't have a second Shatter either, which is pretty tough. Oh, they're just going for it. Okay, cool. They might have a miscast, but that's pretty uncommon. Maybe just an opt or something. If they have opt, they would fire it off though, right? Okay, cool. We do have double white, yeah? They're just going for the win there. Nice. Yep. So event's pretty okay here, and caskets can be alright. They do have brazen borrowers, so that's a little tough. I'd say we can pretty much trim the Eugene, trim this. ECDs aren't very good against them, I don't think. They're good against the Stormwing entities, and that's about it. We can leave like 1 in. Probably just do a bit of trimming there. It might be good just to get rid of the Eugene, but I like having it as an out. Like at least a 1 of. We can go caskets, I guess, just to slow them down a little. Because even the casket on the pet, like, resets it at least. Same thing with the Pteramander, at least it takes it off a turn, takes away summoning sickness, etc. Kinda nice. This isn't very good against this list since they dump their hand. Vetoes could be okay, but I'm not really... I think it's better to have cheaper counter spells like Dispute instead. And then we have extra board wipes with the Extinction event, which they're not really going to plan for. Now, the problem with the Extinction event is it only hits 1 or the other threats, so unless they have multiples, it gets pretty weak. It's like a 4 mana remove 1 or 2 creatures from the field instead of wipe everything. But it's still a good option compared to Eugene, which would come down like, you know, 3 or 4 turns later, potentially. This seems strong enough to me. This can stop a pet eventually. Probably not before it ramps up significantly, but... Yep, Crassus is mediocre, but fine. 2/2 can block this kind of early. As long as they don't flip this guy super early, we're kind of okay. That's alright. I mean, we can develop the white mana if we want to. Kind of make them a little hesitant on playing out more than 1 creature. Or not. So if I play this and I Shark Typhoon for 1 to get this guy, then like we make them blow like a cantrip to deal with that instead of other stuff. Like they'll be very concerned about saving their creature, so they might Lofty Denial or do like a Brazen Borrower and tap out, which is pretty sweet. So we just Shark Typhoon for 1. It's a very strong play against them. Then we're gonna block this probably, unless they have a Shock or a Bone Crusher for this. Oh, boop. Okay, nice, we get a trade. Now they might play another one. Fewer, okay. I think that I want to Extinction Event here and hold the Shatter. What happened to the Sultai deck? I just dropped it for a minute. Yeah, I think I just Extinction Event for 2. Or even, I should say. And then we have Shatter for Terramanders. Okay, that's a sign of weakness. Mission briefing for See the Truth, I guess. Probably what they want. So now we get to Shark Typhoon or wait. Oh wow, that's actually really strong. That refilled their hand pretty rough. Pretty significantly. That was pretty sick, actually. 2 mana Graceful Charity. Yeah, pretty much. It was brutal, man. Nani? Alright. I'm just gonna cycle this for 2 anyway. Nice! Get Shrek'd. Woo! Terramander at me, daddy. Oh, I see. This thing gets pretty annoying. Put that on bottom. Scry 2 to the bottom. No, I said both to the bottom. Listen to me. Play your land. Magic. Age of Dawn. I think if I play this, I can do this and Shatter and then hold up Spiral still. That way we don't have to shock ourselves. Oh, son of a pog. Oh no, dude. What are they gonna get back? Like Opt, I guess? Perfect Pet, okay. Oh my god, dude. No! They get to Graceful Charity again. Son of a pogey. Ooh. Okay. I mean, I guess I can do this for 6. We are a little shy on blue. I kind of want to be able to Uro eventually. It's either this or for 4, and then if I draw Glass Casket, I'm okay, but... Yeah, no Glass Casket, so we feel rewarded. Results-oriented thinking for the win. This is tough, dude. We at least have a Chumper unless they draw into Brazen. So I can still block this guy. Unless they have something crazy. They can't skewer or anything. They can, but it takes all of their mana. I can reset this guy or shatter it. Probably reset him with Teferi, honestly. And then that way they can't instant speed or do any of that weird stuff again. I like their combo though. It's very, very Oh, they're just making it a 6/6 in hopes of getting like a shock or something. They can get Skewer as well, if they want to declare Skewer as a card. Oh, Crash Through. Ooh, big pog. I mean, we just block this, right? We have to block it, because otherwise we're like dead. They have 1 trample damage coming through, and that's fine. Now, they could do a lot of damage with this. Even, like, with all of this untapped mana, they could swing back at me pretty heavily. I could +1 the Teferi, actually. And that would be pretty significant, right? What if they have Fling, dude? If they have Fling. They deserve to win if they have Fling, I guess. Now I still have the Teferi to bounce the Stormwing, which is cool. They get to scry a bit with it, but that's fine. Just hoping they're out of creatures, man. And we can maybe draw a threat. Yep, there's the Stormwing that we can bounce. They do get to fix up their hand pretty well, though. 1 to the top's pretty scary, but it's whatever. Ooh, we need another Shatter for an Extinction event. Let's draw first, see what we get. Okay, I mean, that's not too significant. Gonna make it so they have no creatures here. Wow! Lands, dude. Lands for about a year. At least we can cycle and hold up Dispute, I guess. My god, do I have lands, though? Oh god. Okay. How did I make my mouse so cool? It is a program called YOLO Mouse. Like YOLO Swaggins. YOLO Mouse. I'll make them tap out for this at least. Okay, so now if we draw the Shatter the Sky, we're like pretty much set. Like, not set, but like we're okay, basically. Elspeth's is okay. This thing can pretty much wreck us single-handedly almost. So it might be good to Omen just to see if we can hit the Shatter anyway first. They did go 2 to the top, to be fair. I'm going to try to Omen in hopes of getting a Glass Casket. Right? So we can go white-blue here. We'll have enough room for, like, Growth Spiral. And just hopefully we get the Casket. Casket! Woo! Okay, somebody clip it. You guys love me, clip it. Oh man, they're esporting me though. Oh no! Another light up the stage, dude. Ah! One life. Shock me, daddy. Oh, I need an Ura. One to the top. No. No. Can't do this to me. On. We die to skewer if we shock this in. So that's that is what we call not worth. Hey, so hopefully you guys enjoyed the gameplay. We'll have an exportable list for the deck down below. And if you guys have any questions and comments, feel free to make them in the comments below or stop by my stream. I usually stream from 2 p.m. CST, Central Standard Time, until about 8 p.m. CST. And I do giveaways on my stream as well as the YouTube videos. We got plenty thanks to the Magic the Gathering creator program. And hopefully you guys found the one in the video. If you didn't, you can go back maybe. And I will I'll see you guys for the next video. I hope this was helpful. Hope it kind of gave you an insight on something that's a little creative, a little proactive with the black mana, and just trying to win the mirror matches that are sometimes kind of like just Resident Sleeper. Like you just sit there and just wait for the counter spells to go off. I really love Thought Distortion, where it can just break that ice in the control mirror. So hopefully you guys enjoy the list. Let me know what you think, and I will see you guys for the next video. There'll be an end screen with a subscribe thing if you feel like doing that. Really helps the channel, and appreciate you guys. See you soon.